JB here. Hope everyone's doing awesome. Monday, March 2nd, 3:30 on this fine afternoon. Really quick rant, talk about the market, some names I'm looking at go from there. If you had told me Saturday mid-morning that S&P would be flat, pretty much flat as a pancake at 3:30 on Monday, I would be, you got to be kidding me, right? So here we are. SPY actually was in the green. It's about 305 or so. Let's see, 306. The SPY was at 688, and then we had a dump. And I don't see any major news or headline for that $3 drop. We're down here at 685.55. So S&P is pretty much slightly in the red. And actually, I think that's a good thing. Headlines after the close, the market a little red with all the news going on. I think kind of would make sense for folks, right? Because a green day would really frustrate, especially the bears. It's like they just want to. They're gonna. Well, how the heck can the market be higher today, right? Uh, but anyway, nothing crazy. I mean, unfortunately, since the open, kind of I don't know how to put it. Once markets kind of settled, it's been kind of like a premium crush for especially the names I'm in. So hopefully get some direction tomorrow to the upside would be the ideal scenario. No crazy black swan events. I'm worried, right? So my concern is not even about what's going on. My concern is there's a surprise event, like I was saying on the rant last night, the week ahead, and this morning's rant, some kind of like a suicide bomber on U.S. soil, or some kind of a assassination event, or something that will be not good, right? So hopefully that's kind of like you hold your breath for none of that to happen. Also, you've already seen things when there's events going on with missiles and bombs and dangerous things, accidents happen, right? We already saw that with those airplanes, expensive airplanes, but no loss of life there. But friendly fire incidents, all those things happen when these events are happening. So hopefully we get through this. Markets find footing. The cool heads prevail. Whether there's some kind of resolution in regards to peace or whatever happens, and we can get out of this situation better than where it was a week ago, right? To me, if there's an outcome that means peace in the Middle East, that would be the ideal outcome, right? Yeah, I mean, you have to think, and I'm not, again, I try not to get political side of things, but Israel's been waiting for this, right? So you have to think it's like they're they were waiting to go to the supermarket, so they have the whole list of groceries to get, and now that the grocery store is open, it's a bad analogy, but it's the best way I can describe it. They're trying to get all those facilities that they've been concerned about over the years in regards to nuclear power, whatever. So rants for other days, but I think that's why this is going to be drawn out until that's complete. So maybe a couple days. Hopefully that's it. We get cooler heads prevail. Markets can go on to doing what they're doing. We can go on talking about hopefully not software stuff. Anyway, overall market. So 686. Of course, we're at 685 and change on the SPY. That would be maybe some chop zone tomorrow. 50-day moving average is right there at 687.84. Maybe we can get over that, close over that tomorrow, and then get on to some earnings and other fun stuff. All right, so that's overall markets. So that's also, I mean, things concerned here today, and I think some of it again is the function of some kind of surprise event. But the VIX is up. Sometimes we've had these sell-offs, markets down 1%. The VIX is kind of muted, but today we were in the green and the VIX was up. So pricing in maybe some kind of hopefully not, but pricing in a possibility of some surprise. All right, overall markets. Now just quick on individual names. When there's premium crush, or at least chop, it's not the environment for me to be being ultra aggressive. So don't see any high setup trades. Kind of sitting on my hands at the open. I was looking, of course, Reddit was the one I was looking at. I was actually looking at 165s. But I had, so, everybody has their own system. I'm not trying to, I don't have too much time on a rant, but if you don't have systems, especially at the open, because sometimes not the best time to trade options at the open, right? Because things are volatilities, spikes right out the gate. And unless you have limits in, you're usually going to get screwed trying to chase a move. So for me, I try to have a limit in, and then maybe get lucky on a fill, right? So me at the open, I had the 162.50s, 165, 160s on Reddit, and then I'm just fiddling with the Reddit calls, and boom, I get filled on the 160s. Uh, so with that being said, so good, I'm in my position, I'm comfortable. And situations with Reddit in the past, if Reddit has spikes and gaps, and sometimes I chase those moves, and then you get some pullbacks. And thankfully today, Reddit, it didn't spike too much, and it's been chopping around. Premiums are holding it up. It's flat as a pancake. So lucky to get those 160s. I put it on the post on private Twitter feed and in the chat room, the 162.50s are a decent risk reward in my opinion. I mean, I always talk about Reddit and I always talk about looking at the premiums. And sometimes you look at the premiums on a Wednesday or Thursday and they're expensive on Reddit. To try and play a 5 or 10% move on Reddit in a matter of 2 days, typically it's expensive. And today, right now, you look in the 160s. Well, let's say the 165s, and stocks 146. But me, I look at Reddit and I think it's a $300 stock. So when I see I see the stock at 146, I look at pretty much any strike that is 10, 15 bucks out of the money as inexpensive. But the 162.50s are 52 by 67. The 165s are 36 by 40. $10 right now. The at the money straddles 10 bucks on Reddit. So I me, if we weren't right now going, wondering if there's some kind of event overnight that might move markets, I might get some more strikes. But if it moves in the right direction, the 160s will pay. They were close to a double after the open. They're still up 50% or so. What the last time I checked, they're 81 by 91. So if I get a chance to close them out for double, cover costs like I usually do, that's what I'll do. Hopefully I get a chance. Well, I don't know if I'll get it in the next 24 minutes. We'll see. All right, so that's the Reddit trade. I still have the Roku strike, so that was chopping around right at the open, down to 96. Finally found a bid up to 97, and it's been chopping around in the 97s. Of course, it hits the highs just a little while ago, 98.50, and then a little sell-off happens on the S&P. So, not going to do anything here. I talked about possibly adding some more strikes, but I'll just continue to hold those 106s. Those are freebies. So that's that. Other names. So funny to talk about AVAV. So you try and look at ways to trade what's going on. And typically you go and look at like Northrop Grumman, LMT, LHX, right? Harris, one of my top 5 stocks for 2026. That one is up 3%, actually holding the gains. But AVAV, and let's see. Wow, it's down to 206. That one is like, well, I don't know if I did like a top 5 stock for the back half. Maybe it was 2018. I have to go back and look. But Spruce Point Capital had it as a short back in the day. I think I was long. Maybe the stock was like 60 bucks. So it's one of my old favorites. This is before our drones were really, obviously AVAV is up quite a bit over the last couple of years. But people used to, Spruce Point posted like this big short piece, said it was like a $20 stock, some like almost like it was a scam. And it used to have a high short interest, right? And, I've traded on and off sometimes for profits. I'm trying to remember all the last time I traded. But even today, you're looking at the open, I'm looking for maybe some ways to trade what's going on. And it's spiking. And then you see Kramer come on and say, oh, yeah, look at AVAV. Stock goes up to 303 and boom, sells off. An insane sell-off. 303 was a high, 196.30 was the low. So a $100 swing, more than half its market cap. And I think it's $10 billion company. It was $5 billion change in market valuation. Just remarkable stuff. I don't even know what my point was, but I was looking at trades at the open. So that was one of the names. And then the other side is the optics, right? So here it is. You had the light news this morning, NVIDIA with the 2 billion investment, or is it 6 billion? I don't even know. Billions, 1 billion, 6 billion. What's the difference? But then there's other names. AAOI continues to run. So I have that list of other names that I'm looking at. And some of those are up today. Why don't I have it here? Do I have it? But some of the names, I'm trying to think. So the names I'm looking at, a lot of them are pre-revenue or early stage. Is AUML? What is it? Anyway, for rants for other days, but I'm trying to find ones that might be undiscovered. The thing is, a lot of these names are rallying just on these other just on the fact that Light had that deal and AOI, right? So the premiums are spiked. Any little I don't know, lackluster session tomorrow and those premiums will get crushed. So probably not the best day to be looking for optic names to try and chase. So I'll do some research overnight. I had that little sheet. All right, so that's that. But anyway, it's AVAV, AIO, and then just other names. Obviously, the Roblox to Poet, right? So Poet's the name. People always point this one out to me, and every time I look, maybe it's running up 8%, and then the next day I look and it's flat or down or in the red. So for some reason, that's why it's kept away. One of these times, it's going to be a gap and go. Let's see where it is right now. That's why I was talking about all these optic names. All right, so that's Poet. All right, sorry about that. I'm getting off on tangents here. That's Reddit. That's Roku. Travel Zoo, flat as a pancake right now, $6.45. Actually down to $6.12 earlier this morning. It is watching the equivalent of watching paint dry. I've got better timing, of course, right? But I think at some point that's just going to go on a run, and maybe it's only 20 cents a day or 30 cents a day. But when it happens, it's going to go from 6.45 all the way up to like $9. And it's going to happen, uh, maybe a week or 2 weeks time frame, and the options will go, 20 cents, 40 cents, a dollar 20. So that's the thought process there. So not going to waste time talking about that one. I think, Lemonade and Roblox, right? So here, Lemonade's at 53, and I was looking earlier, but of course, it passed 53.12, just hit 53.50 and has been bouncing around. So I don't know. Tomorrow's another day. Like I keep saying, I'm not saying that something's going to happen overnight, but I'd rather wait for maybe another day for the market kind of, absorb all the news and all the events that have gone on, where I think there'll be better opportunities, or at least less risk, right? Because some of a trade is not just the reward side of things, it's the risk that there could be some events. So it doesn't make sense to be overly aggressive when there's possibly the heightened risk is out there, right? So that's that. Lemonade. So if I was looking at strikes, it's funny, I did those lottos last week on, what was it, 58s, 59s, but then you start looking at strikes, and the Lemonade 59s expiring this week, and it said $53 or 25 by 35. Normally I'd be scrambling I'd be loading, I wouldn't say loading the boat, but that, we'll see what happens towards the end of the week. But that might be a strike that I might look to get some lottos on. Roblox, on the other hand, I was looking early this morning. It's been $66 pretty much the entire day, and those premiums are a little more elevated. So if I do get some strikes, I'll probably wait till tomorrow. And that's it. We still have earnings this week. So I mean, just impressive to see the market hold up. Oh, GLW, that's the last one. And that's why I was going on that light tangent. But GLW, another one. I would not be surprised. It's almost like Meta and Nvidia, they're all going through these stages of procuring capacity, right? They're trying to make sure they're not caught in a situation where they're not able to take advantage of capacity in the data center space or what have you. So you have to think Corning is just on the cusp of multiple deals. And I wouldn't even call it like bidding wars, but it's just like every day that goes by, it's just another day that I think uh, this fiber optic story is just kind of like on maybe like the second or third inning, right? And you look at some of the other, the memory story is probably in the eighth inning, right? So, and it's like now the optic story is probably in the sixth inning. So anyway, I think the fiber optic story is the next shoe to drop in a good way, right? Typically, you think the next shoe to drop in a bad way, but take a look, like the weeklies on GLW. It's 156 right now. The 175s are 77 by 102. So $20 out of the money. $11 implied move on the stock right now for the weekly. So that's kind of telling you either it's pricing in news, right? And you take advantage, sell premium, or it's heading a lot higher. Maybe both, right? Anyway, that's it, folks. Have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.